Kia ora. Okay, I've got let loose on the footer. Now, a lot of you are wanting to do something like this. Certainly having your social links. So I've chosen just 2 socials and I wanted them centered. And then I thought there might be some of you that want to create a call to action button where it could be subscribe or do something. So have a look because these are linked. Right now, this is completely random. So remember the other website I was making was called Chicken Chasing. So this is the Insta link. Off you go. Bit of a slow load time, isn't it? Right, Chicken Chasing Dog. Fantastic. And here is the Facebook link. It's a bit quicker. That's good. Oh, lots of chickens chasing chickens. Fantastic. And the other thing I thought was, that call to action, often read, in this case, hot pink, subscribe, yes, spelled correctly. And I just created a link to another page to say thank you. So let's have a look at what I did. This is busy. So I used the idea of, not buttons, but okay, so I use the idea of the side-by-side image gallery. And so a few of you have done this, where you've created a row to be the parent, and you've created columns to be the children. And so each column you can put in some different content. And then you can style them using flex. So the parent, as the row, gets the display of flex, and then the children you do something with. So let's have a look. And the other thing I referred to was this page, which I showed you earlier, the CSS tricks, because what I wanted to do was to get my content in the middle. So initially it wasn't landing in the middle, so I needed to use this justify content in the parent, which was going to be the row. So let's have a look. All right, so I've got my div class footer. There's the opening tag, here's its closing tag. Now within the footer, I've got a div class called row here, and this is where I've put the class button. So it's got an href, hyperlink to the thank you page. So that's just a HTML page here. So I put the address there, and it's got a class that equals button, which I was able to style. Show you that soon. The words within the button, it says subscribe. All right, so that's the first row. Now I've created a second row. So because it's a div class, you can reuse it, and the styling is going to be the same, and this will become apparent really soon. Within this particular row, because this is for my socials, I've created these 2 columns. I could call them different things, and within each column I've used an anchor tag, so that has a hyperlink reference. So I've put the web address, so the HTTPS address to the Instagram that I want it to go to. Now, here's its opening tag, the A, and here's the A or anchor tag, its closing tag. So within that, there is an image tag, and that points us to the images folder to go and find the Insta logo. So that's what's displaying. And then I've styled it so that the height and the width are both 60 pixels. So I want a square. And of course, it's got its alt text. So so that's the Instagram child. And it's in the div class column, which I can reuse again and again with different content, but I can style it all the same. So here's the next div div class column. And again, it's got the anchor tag, and this time to a Facebook page, because then it's got, so there's the opening anchor tag and the closing anchor tag at the very end. And then within that, I haven't written any text. Instead, I've put the image tag in. And so again, it points to the images folder within my root directory of today, which is what I've called the website folder. And it's said go and find the transparent Facebook logo. We've styled it again, height 60 pixels, width 60, and it's got some alt text. So let's go and have another look at what's happened. Oops, not that. We'll go backwards. There we go. So if I inspect the page, this is what we see. So I'll jump into footer. And I've got this div class row at the top where we can see the subscribe button sitting in the middle. And then there's also, so that one's got just that anchor tag. So I can click onto that or hover on that. Now I've got the second div class row, and you can see that that has got the two columns, which is filled up with the two different social icons. So we better have a look at the styling. All right, so okay, styling for footer. So you'll notice with both of these pages actually I've got let loose and put lots of comments so that you can see what's happening. And can I recommend you're doing the same with your own? It's a really good habit. Going back to, oops, no, where am I going? Styles, style. So here we are. So I've got my styling for the footer. So I have a div class footer. So again, it's the same as all my other big divisions, that I've made it 800 pixels wide, and I've set the margin 0 for the top and bottom, auto for the sides. So basically it's going to center that content in the middle of the page. And I've given it a background color of it's the color I used for the navigation circles earlier. Then I've got my row. So I've said with my row, I want it to display and flex, and this is where this justify content comes into play. So just jumping back into here. So remember, I've talked about this this page before, the Flexbox properties. The purple side is anything to do with the container or the parent Flex container. And the other side, which is the yellow side, or orange, yellowy orange, is the side with the properties for the children or the flex items. So I wanted the container to display my little items so that they were centered. So I was looking at this going, center, that's what I want. So I needed to use that justify content, colon, center. There it is. All right, so that's what got them into the center. Now, skip the button for a moment. I then jumped onto the column, and this only came into play for the social links here because there's two within the parent, and I said I want you to have a bit of space. So say if I do 5 pixels and we jump on here, so that looks really close. So I thought a bit more space, make it 25. A bit of breathing room was good. Boom, there we go. Yeah, no, like 20. Okay, whatever works for your eye. So there's that bit. All right, so I've got my 2 rows, and within row 2, I've got 2 children in there, the columns. Now, let's go and have a look at the styling for this button. So again, a good place to go and find things out is W3 Schools. So there were 2 pages that I went and had a wee visit and a bit of a look, and then had to think about what I can do and what I wanted to do. So I looked at how do you style a button. So you can do all sorts of things with buttons. So, have a play around, try yourself. I think it's great because you really can see what happens. Oops, make that 100. There we go, like that. So I had a look at that, and I also had a look at, so you've got the styling here, and then thought, right, well, I want to make it an anchor tag with a hyperlink and href. So over we went. So I thought, okay, background colour, don't want red, I'll go for pink. I didn't want a border, but I thought it needed to have curved sides, because if I take that away, initially it was like that, and it looked, yeah, it just looked a bit sharp, especially because you've got these social icons that have got curves and circles. So it goes for that. White text on pink because the black just disappears into it. A tool I could use to check that would be a colour contrast checker, which is something that you could talk about come DCAT time. Well, any parts of your assignments when you're talking about the different relevant implications. Then I've added a margin around the button so that in its area there's 24 pixels width at the top, 2 pixels to the right, 0 pixels underneath, and 2 pixels to the other side. Padding, so a bit, so that's 15 top and bottom, 32 left, right. I wanted it centered, the text. I didn't want any bullets, so text decoration none. If there was, actually I don't need that. That would be if there was a few more buttons. Maybe I was doing a few things here. I could say this is 1 EM rather than pixels. Have the cursor as a pointer. Don't necessarily need that, so let's just check what we've got here. Got my curves again, and you can see that space. If I was to change that margin, so I'll just, oops, oh, that was useful, not, right, hang on, I'll just do, and I'm going to make it big. Okay, so I'll do 50 pixels, so let's just go and have a look what happens next. Kaboom. Right, looks a bit odd. So I didn't want that much space here. I wanted a bit of space at the top. Hence why I went for even a colon. And if I go, yeah, I thought that looked quite tidy. All right, so that gives you another couple of elements that you could play with on your pages. Cool, have fun.